Hi there, Shihan. Let's take a look at your new set of essays. Here's the car sales. Okay. The bar chart given compares the sales in European countries for 3 different car brands during 2018. It is clear that the highest number of sales for 2018 were reported for Hungary, with nearly 400,000 sales, followed by France with 300,000. The lowest sales are reported for Belgium, where almost all the sales came from Ford vehicles. Ireland, Holland, and Germany in average shares. What? I don't understand this. Ireland, Holland, and Germany on average share and equal number of sales. I think that's what you mean. The chart also illustrates that Ford cars are popular in every European country listed except for Germany and Italy, where the sales volume for Ford is minimal, AL. The highest demand for Ford is in Hungary, Holland, and France. Audi shows a bigger demand in Hungary, Germany, and France, and also in other countries compared to Belgium, Italy, and UK. As for BMW sales, France, Germany, Poland, and Hungary share an equal number of demand, whilst Belgium reports the lowest. Okay. Overall, it is clear that the demand and popularity of these 3 car brands differ in each European country, where in some countries only 1 or 2 car brands are the favorites. Okay. So, let's talk about the good and the bad. The good is you were one of the few people to do this essay that actually mentioned all 9 countries by name. That's important. It's considered some of the key information here. It's 9 different categories, and so it's wrong not to mention all of them. You mentioned all of them by name at least once, so that's good. Let's see, what else is good? Your overview was fine. Now let's talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. Let's see. So you gave me data for Hungary, you gave me data for France, but you didn't give me data for the lowest, and I think that was one piece of data I absolutely wanted. Okay, because it's nice to know that range. Where are these numbers? So you have that high of 400,000 or 400,000 plus. Oh, no, 400,000, sorry. And then you have this just under 100, though I think it's important to note what the range is that we're discussing here. And when you have that, then this information here becomes much more telling. It becomes much more interesting as well, that they are somewhere in the middle, we can assume. Okay? Then, I had a problem with this paragraph because there's absolutely no data in it. Nothing. There's nothing about where these car sales are. I mean, how are these figures being made up? So if Hungary is almost 400,000, how is that divided? Okay, so I think it was really important to include this information here, that it's pretty much divided equally into 3, so it's about 130,000 for each car maker, and I think that was important. You didn't give any data at all for that. I mean, you mentioned some of the trends, but with no figures, and that's problematic. It's just not considered a well-developed answer. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then I thought this was kind of hard to follow. So you have highest demand for it is here, here, and here. It shows a higher demand here. This Audi shows a higher demand here, 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 and here. As for BMW, here, 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 and here. So it's just very monotonous when you write like that. It's like every sentence is a copy paste of the previous. And like I said, there was no data. So I really wanted you to turn this around, switch it up a little bit, change your language. Don't make every sentence resemble the previous one. All right? Okay. Let's take a look at your task 2. Pollution. Why and how can we solve it? Let's see what you said. In the 20th century, almost every country has been through industrialization, and many large cities find this extremely challenging, particularly with the problems associated with pollution. This essay will now discuss the reasons for pollution in large cities and suggest possible solutions with supportive facts and examples, okay? Nearly in every large city, we find the increase of number, we find an increase in number of vehicles that travel, the operation of factory buildings and power plants. As much as they are important to a country's economy, comma, they also have a significant correlation to environmental pollution, noise pollution, as well as water pollution. For instance, the emission of harmful gases in air, such as the emission of air? I don't think that's what you mean. The emission of gases such as carbon dioxide and sulfur, that's an LF dioxide, significantly affects, with an A, the ozone layer. The results in decreasing the quality of, this results in decreasing the quality of air consumed. In a recent study done by the Environmental Research Committee of Oxford, no, it's A, get rid of the N. So a recent study by the Environmental Research Committee of Oxford revealed that nearly 50 to 65% of people living in the main cities were affected with health hazards, such as heart disease, lung cancer, and difficulties for those having asthma. This study clearly shows pollution has been a growing concern that needs immediate attention. Okay, fine, no problems. In regard to possible solutions, it is important that large cities introduce practical solutions. Okay, avoid that. Solutions in the same sentence, okay? How about practical measures? That would have been a great word to use. So, introduce practical measures to reduce the damage caused and minimize the risks associated with such activities that cause pollution. For instance, introducing environmental safety products such as recyclable items instead of plastic, use of alternative sources such as solar power and wind to ensure clean energy outputs, use of other transport methods such as walking or cycling instead of traveling in vehicles are some useful solutions. Okay, now what you've basically done here is you've given me a list of solutions. What you haven't done is you haven't made it a paragraph because you didn't tell me how they are useful. How would these help us? Okay, so how would using recyclables instead of plastic help the environment? Okay, how would solar power be useful? Okay, and how would walking or cycling be useful? So these are all the things that you need to address. You can't just throw out these ideas because then it just sounds like a bulleted list. Okay, furthermore, comma, a recent, what? I don't know what you're trying to say here. Let me try it. Further, a recent done, the Environmental Committee of the United Nations in 2015 showed that taking such alternative transport methods reduced air pollution by 43% in London. Okay, good. That's one piece of information. That's one example. But you need to do the same thing for these other things that you mentioned. I don't know what you're trying to say here. I think you wanted to say, furthermore, a study recently done by, and then it would have been fine. In conclusion, as much as there are significant consequences that follow from pollution in almost every large city, the responsibility of taking appropriate steps and complying with the necessary health standards stipulated by appropriate regulators does eventually rest with the ordinary residents. Okay, why are you talking about that here? That seems strange. You never mentioned anything like that before. Here you talked about introducing environmentally safe products, okay, which is not the job of the ordinary citizens. Then you talked about solar power, not the role of citizens. Here, yeah, this is walking or cycling instead of traveling. But the other things you mentioned are not. They require work from the government, they require work from industry. So for you to write this, it seems a little strange. It doesn't fit in with what you said in your body paragraph, okay? And your conclusion should reflect the things you said in your body paragraph. Okay. So I think that brings us to the end of this essay. There were some good elements to it. There were a couple of things that you needed to change, need to kind of revise a little bit. But on the whole, you're on the right track. You're doing well. So well done. All right. Go ahead and correct these. Send them back corrected. Add to your error correction list and write us more essays. Okay. We'll come back here and see what you write next time. Good luck.